Talk Show. Recorded live.
Welcome, everybody. This is Barbara Sadtler, and I am calling in today from Berlin, Germany. We also have Eagle from Israel. I don't know exactly where in Israel are you, Eagle?
Well, I live on a kibbutz that's called Ginigar, and it's in the northern part right next to Nazareth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So is that beautiful country?
It's country roads, take me home.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice to have that energy on this call. And Jeff Grant, are you near the beach there, Jeff, in LA?
Yep, just rolled out of bed.
Well, I'm glad to have you with us. We're going to do a kind of a three-way round today, talking about the Mayan day sign of 1.Monkey, the weaver of time, because that is what today is on the Mayan calendar. I think on the Gregorian it is a Friday, August 9th, and we're glad you all can join us. And I'd like to start out right away by invoking the energies of Monkey. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon for me here. It's probably sun coming up for you, Jeff, right?
Just starting to, yeah.
Okay. So I've already been dancing around the maypole pretty much with bots today. How about you, Eagle?
Yeah, I mean, I've been really kicking back today. Friday's first day that I'm not working this week, so I really try to take it easy. And also there was festivities. My daughter had this graduation thing at kindergarten, so he was very, buzzed and happy like.
Oh, they're doing graduations at kindergarten. Isn't that just adorable? Proud moments, racking them up.
Yeah, that's right.
That's very sweet, very sweet. Okay, well let's all get centered. Let's ground ourselves as best we can, and let's really feel our feet in our base of the spine into the earth, even if you're at a high rise like I am right now. Just use the breath to really ground deep, not into the floor or into the mat, but go into the soil, into the mantle, into the core of our deep mother. And with candles lighted or sacred bundle in your lap, I'm using a feather today that I have been traveling with since I was up on the tour in Glastonbury in England. And use that to enliven the energy that comes up from the heart of the earth, up through the spine into the heart of the heavens, and the heart of the winds, and the heart of the water, creating the fire that is in our bellies. And today we thank you, Ahau, for the Nawal Un-Bat, the monkey, the weaver of time. We know that this energy is full of surprises. Some people call Bats the trickster. And the image that I always receive is of a monkey up in the canopy of the rainforest, swinging from branch to branch, And as observers, we never really know where they're going to take off to next. And they're looking down, and sometimes they might even throw things at us. Or another image and sound is the howler monkeys that seem to go off every morning at 4. And that's the time where the monks and many of the meditators of the world wake up to find that stillness. Now, how Bots knows about that auspicious timing is only for Bots to know, I guess. But this is a playful energy. It's a courageous energy. It's a good day to start new things. The day of 8 Bots is the day that the Mayan day keepers are initiated in the highlands of Guatemala. And that's the day that they must perform their ceremonies and make their petitions for all of their clients and constituents in 5 different ceremonial areas, starting with the top of the mountain, working down to the mid-mountain, down to the stream, up to the hill in Pakalom, and then ending in front of the cathedral, in between the area right also in front of the marketplace, for the final ceremony. This is the day that I heard Jose Sachs' wife talk about very, very eloquently. He was talking about Bots in terms of the time weaver and how he is the puller of the threads, and how the women who do the weaving now in Guatemala mostly conjure Bots as they pull in different colors, and it's Bots that creates the designs. And some of these designs are so intricate, so beautiful, and very, very colorful with natural dyes. And of course, the Maya use these fabrics for everything. I mean, they don't carry many plastic bags. They'll carry a big bundle of vara made out of this woven cloth. And it's Bots that winds its way through the pulling of those threads. And as the Nana told us, sometimes that thread can get all tangled up. And that's the time where you hold your hand up in the air and start circling your hand in the motion counterclockwise to unwind all that mess that's been created. And then after you know that the unwinding has been done, then you start in the other direction and weave it all in a clockwise motion, bringing it back into a balanced spool, a spool ready for the creation of something new, of something beautiful, of something practical. Working with the loom of the Maya. So on days like this, you can feel the workings of Bots. And I'd like to ask both Jeff and Eagle to share perhaps an experience or an insight or some little tidbit that you've had in working with Bots.
Well, as you were just describing it right now, particularly associating it with a monkey or trickster in a way. I'm actually reading the Ramayana right now, and then for anybody who's read it, I'm still fairly about a third into it, and so Rama and Lakshmana they're in pursuit of Sita, who is taken by the demon Ravana, and they're actually meeting up with some other type of fantasy people or not, and I wouldn't say fantasy. I guess fantasy is definitely the wrong word because in ancient times, who knows? But the Vanara or Vanares, these other people or folk or kingship that live in the forest are basically described as monkeys, as like living, breathing kind of beings that can swing in the trees and have some other magical properties, maybe almost like a Yeti. Almost. And some of the folklore and stuff that have to do with Yetis or Bigfoot, there's kind of allowed magical powers and the ability to transform and do some things. So it's interesting to me that just right now I'm right in that section of the book, and here we are rolling up on Monkey.
Well, the monkey, the Hanuman, is a god in that tradition for sure.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Hanuman is he's a protector. He's also a trickster there too.
Yeah, I can see that because I believe he's the advisor, isn't he, to the exiled Monkey King, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting because they're coming together now, and his brother that has caused his exile, Rama's about to go kill him. They actually just had their first battle, and to speak to the monkey craziness, Rama never fails. And he promises this guy he's going to take out his brother from the wood line. So his brother gets the gall to go back to his kingdom, which he's been pounded out of multiple times, and call his brother out in front of everybody from the gate. And so the guy's like, oh, I'm just going to take care of you now. And he runs down there, and blow comes to blow, and these two monkey brothers, Rama can't tell them apart. So he can't fire because he doesn't know which one is which once the blows start flying. And so the guy he's trying to help ends up getting his butt kicked and running back to the safety zone, and they have to reset and go at it again, and that's where I'm at, actually.
Wow.
So that's literally the part I left off at yesterday, and I'll be getting on with it today. So that's
when you're talking about these stories, it feels so much like all of the shenanigans and the bizarre things that happen in the Maya sacred text, the Popol Vuh.
You're exactly right. And there's
a grizzly tale for you.
There's two players again. The one Hunab Pu and the other one. The hero twins are always together. It's the twins, just like Rama and Lakshmana. So, and in a way, I guess probably Rama and Sita too, but not in the case of the hero twins. They were not like that. So.
Well, the wild tales. Indeed.
Well, and there's even a lot of parallels, I think, too. You have the Lords of Death and the Popol Vuh. I haven't actually read a modern translation of it or anything, but you absolutely have a lot of modern monsters, in a way, portrayed in the Ramayana with blood-drinking vampires and things like that. But one of the things I've already noticed, 2/3 or 1/3 into the story, is that these monsters are actually like old cursed yogis in a lot of cases, where once they're killed,
working through their karma.
It fulfills their karma of being killed by Rama, and then they actually turn back into their light body of their actual self, and they whiz off to their section of heaven. That's interesting.
Oh my gosh! How about you, Eagle? What may you add to this part of the
First of all, Jeff, that's really out of left field. It's really out there. I really. What's the name? Can you just type in what you're reading? Because I've read the Bhagavad Gita and it blew me away. But there were no monkeys there. So, again, on a different angle to Rama.
Well, yes. Anyone who's heard of the Bhagavad Gita, the Ramayana is usually right behind or right in front. So they're.
Yeah, Ramayana is a part of the Gita, I think, and it's It's probably, I mean, they've made operas out of it. They make children's plays out of it. I mean, this is like probably one of the best known Vedic stories in history.
Okay, well, what I wanted to add to this is something that I came across during my research and study, and actually I'd like to introduce the idea of the Western idea of Mercury. Okay, now I found that two adjacent sun signs, which is Tzi, yesterday and today, but are actually can be somehow adapted to the two aspects of Mercury. One being faithful, the faithful transmission of knowledge, and Mercury as the god of language and everything written and all the knowledge that's been passed down faithfully as the dog star. And the other side of Mercury is the trickster, is what gives us wit and gives us the ability to the ability of comedy, which is more the monkey aspect. And both are conveying information or conveying knowledge, but in different ways. So the monkey would be more faithful to himself, more faithful to his own. A monkey always has this curiosity about him, this childlike appeal to anything new, anything novel. Maybe that's the reason why it's a good day to start something new, because curiosity is strong, and also Bats types really learn very fast, and they can also teach you great. Some of the great teachers were born on Bats Day. Some of the great actors, some of the great, actors that can really be chameleons, can be whoever they want to be, like Robert De Niro. They were born on a Bats Day, and this goes to show, being very faithful, but at the same time tongue-in-cheek, with a wink, and can really get you off guard. So
that's interesting. You say that because it's interesting. Like a lot of archetypes and figures. I would call it Mercury, an archetype that came from Greece or Rome or wherever. But a lot of the wisdom figures or deity figures from Quetzalcoatl to Thoth are known as wisdom deities or creative and inspirational kind of wisdom-bringing, knowledge-bringing deities. And then a lot of them, like one of the Indian yogis I follow a lot, has referred to them as Janus-faced masters, meaning kind of two-faced. A Janus-faced master, he's referred to him as, which is like the double eagle or the double-sided coin, right. Two sides of every coin. It's a hey, I have the ability to slap you, but I have also the ability to be nice. It's like your mom or your dad. They can be a disciplinary figure or a very loving figure, and so it's sometimes described like that
funny.
A little bit.
When you look at the glyph of Bats, typically it has those two. I don't know really what they are. I forget what they're literally supposed to be. They're like teeth, and one curves off to the right and one curves off to the left. Again, depicting that duality. But above them, at the very top, there's like a semicircle that's got another separation, a little separation between it halfway. So it's almost like a two-sided face to one coin.
Yes.
Definitely. That's interesting.
Yeah, but, when you were talking about the adjacent symbols, you go from dog to monkey. And, I know Don Alejandro's translator, Elizabeth, she would always say that the animal names that we Westerners give the glyphs don't really do it for the Maya as much as these other concepts that they have. And, the dog is another tricky one. The way that we relate to the spiritual authority is that a dog in our life always is there with unconditional love. a constant reminder of how we could be at our highest self. But at the same time, the other side of that coin is that, a dog can leave the house, roam the streets, get into all kinds of trouble, and come home bitten and bedraggled and, just kind of barely making it, limping up back into the house. And so it also has that two-sided nature to it. And, a lot of the astrologers would say somebody with the C day sign is, do you hear that noise in the background?
I hear it, yeah.
Can I ask everybody to press *6? I still hear the noise. Okay. Can you still hear me? Hello?
We could still hear you.
Okay, good. All right. So we got a little sidetracked there. We're talking about dog and we're talking about monkey and that two-sided nature of things. But Eagle, can you address what you kind of think about or work with the concept of adjacent day signs? You see a transition from one to the other? You see a flow between all of them?
Well, there's actually both, and I think that there are. I do look at couples like Burner Day or Year Lord quadruplets. You have Bats would be with Imosh, Achmach, and also Kemeh, and Bats. So they could be adjacent. They could correspond across the Tolkien. It's very it's really where I put my attention, because the more I look, the more I find anything else with the Tolkien. But again, I just found this, and I also looked at, let's say, Imosh and Achpu. And also, so sometimes it's a very natural continuance of the story, but at the same time, it's a new chapter on its own right, and it's completely different.
Yes.
All right. So that's the way I look at it, and sometimes I find logic within it, and it helps me really to walk through the sequence and find my own kind of meaning. And again, this idea of Mercury being the messenger of the gods, so let's say it's the mind. Okay, the messenger of the gods is whatever happens in my mind. So the dog would be being faithful to my convictions. And then Bats would be, just trashing everything and beginning something new. But again, it's still me, It's still me, but I'm just throwing stuff away like the monkey does. And it could be, the messenger is just the messenger. He can be very loving like the dog and really love the person he's giving the message to, even though it could be a calamity of some sort. So he has the love and the loyalty to his masters that convey the message, and also to the recipient of the message. But at the same time, he could use his words in a way, in the monkey way, in the Bat's way, and really make a riddle out of it, and really let the person work it out for himself. Because at the end of the day, it's his responsibility to get out of the mess he's in. So again, it's very. There's a lot of meaning there, and the archetypes do work that way.
Well, it's interesting that you're kind of working with that idea, because over the last several days, I've been immersed in a new and different reality for me. I've been traveling, and I've been over in England, in southwest of London. And the first 7 days of the journey, I was with a group of people, and we were focusing our attentions on the crop circles as well as the sacred sites in the area that surround all these different fields where the crop circles appear. And this was, something I had wanted to do since I very first heard of them years and years ago. Finally got the opportunity to do it. And, I had this, a number of insights since I've been able to walk into a crop circle, feel the energy, lie there and really absorb the energy. So we walked, we had the experience from the ground. We had the experience from the air, because we took a helicopter tour around the crop circles as well. We walked in them. We meditated with them. We did ceremony with them. And we talked with one of he's like the grand elder now of the crop circles. His name is Michael Glyphs, and he's a British architect and designer whose experience with the crop circles has resulted in 2 or 3 different books and a really, really nice website. And I think what really occurred there, and I was feeling bots, I was feeling this similar to the experience I first had, my first encounter with bots was almost 4 years ago now, when my mother died and my first granddaughter was born. And I had this sense of the thread, of the lineage thread, that was exquisite. It was palpable. It was something that I'd never really touched upon before. So it was a real revelation for me at that time. And I was feeling that kind of energy, while we were in the circles and while we were talking with, various people about them. And this gentleman, Michael Glyphs, he's so bright. He sat there and worked us through the mathematics of some of these circles. And he did so with such expertise and with such love and respect and appreciation for whomever it is that is creating them, that you were tingling in awe, because you could feel the connection that he had with them. You could feel like the connection that you were creating, that I personally was creating with them. And then we met another person named Bear Cloud, who is a Native American. He's an artist. He lives in Sedona. And he's been coming over to the crop circles to visit the crop circles in the summer for many years. And he paints just exquisite stuff, mind-altering stuff. Just looking at one painting is enough to, feel your crown lift off the top of your head. And he used the word star glyphs. And, of course, just that word glyph and star in one, it really rang me up. It was just, that's it. And, so many people talk about, how the crop circles are being made, and there's all kinds of theories, and there's all kinds of controversy, the way the British say it. But really, they're messengers. And they're messages that are interpreted deeply and profoundly within everyone, who even looks at a picture of them, let alone, having a physical experience in them or with them. And, the word glyph, that's a timeless concept. And I was reminded immediately of Don Alejandro, who told us that he's traveled all over the world, and he has seen glyphs in India, Cambodia, Japan, Africa, all over the world that are reminiscent of the Mayan glyphs. So, there's this whole concept of the oneness component and how interwoven and the web that we all live within that is woven by bots. And then, to step into one of these crop circles and see the perfection, the alignment of every little stalk of the grain, whether it be barley or wheat, and how they're perfectly formed vortexes. And there's nothing slipshod about it. We were lucky enough to go into one circle the morning after it happened, and it was absolute perfection. And so I wanted to share that because, for me, it's like, one of the reasons I travel is because it affords me an opportunity to connect dots and see similarities and see the common themes and feel the energies that are omniscient. They're everywhere. And the fact that this bots call was coming up right at the end of this journey in the holy lands of England was just not coincidental either. But if you get a chance, I posted some photos already on Facebook. We'll be including some links to some of these other sites. But one of the other things that came up that I'd like to throw out to this group and get some ideas. The farmers in that part of England have, this season, they have dug their heels in deeper and taken a stand against their willingness to let people walk onto their fields and experience the crop circles. They've made many public statements about this, that they had some crop circle conferences as usual, and they made public statements about it. It's been in the press. They've gone into the center of some of the circles and carved them out so people couldn't see the designs. And it's in talking to people that have been there for 20 years watching these things, they've never seen such recalcitrant behavior on the part of the farmers. So I've got some ideas, but what do you guys make, and women, what do you make of the fact that this is coming up now? As we know, there are no coincidences. But how would you interpret that? Any thoughts on that?
I think
Why
that,
now? Why not in 2012? Why not, 10 years ago? Was that
I think the farmers might have sensed the energetic run-up to 2012 that was occurring.
Mm-hmm.
And why be the farmer that wants to stand on the train track that stops that train now that it's passed, statewide? Mm-hmm. Maybe they're getting more assertive and restless, or maybe someone's pulling their strings. Who owns their land?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of I'm sure a lot of people who are going to listen to this later or on the call saw the developer who decided to just use a Mayan pyramid for landfill.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of spiritual disrespect out there. It's been going on forever. Most access and to artifacts and things like that is only because they were looted at one point or another. I'm actually surprised to hear you say that the farmers have been so open about it for so long.
Well, they have been, but this is the year that they decided enough is enough. And, they were very vocal about it. But, the thing that comes to my mind, we were in one of the crop circles in one afternoon, and this crop circle had been in for a couple of months. So it was, by those standards, it was like a mature crop circle. And we did a group meditation. And we were essentially journeying to connect with the circle makers, as they're called. And it was a lovely, lovely meditation. And then afterwards, and we had asked for more crop circles. And afterwards, we got out our dowsing rods and we asked the question, where will these crop circles appear? And one of the women's rods went one direction, mine went in another direction, and it was really clear. I mean, there was no ambivalence about it. They were two completely different directions. The next day, there were two crop circles formed, each in one of those directions. So that was instantaneous feedback. So we went to visit one of them. It was in a place called Chirton. We went that next morning. So the circle was fresh. And there was a large group, maybe, 15, 20 people sitting in the center of that crop circle, and they had been meditating. And they told us that they had done a group meditation the day before, and they had asked for a specific design. And they were then sitting in the crop circle of that design. So that was really wonderful feedback also, and very quick, very responsive. And then the other day I liked a page. There's a Dutch woman who has given up her complete career, sold her business, and decided to spend all of her time and effort and money on monitoring the crop circles, flying over every morning to see where they have appeared. She set up an info center. She's got this Facebook page. And she showed a very exquisite circle that came just shortly after, like the day or the evening of a group meditation that Dr. Stephen Greer, who is the MD/UFOlogist, and he had some of his CE5 trainees in the area, and they had done an all-night vigil. And the next morning, and they saw some lights, the fireballs, I think some people call them. And there, lo and behold, was a very, very beautiful, very eloquent crop circle the next day. So my feeling is more like the closer our understanding of this phenomenon, this miracle, comes to what's actually happening, is elevating consciousness, which, I mean, we've seen that the more elevation or the higher the frequency, in some requires a deeper negative reaction than others.
Interesting.
Right.
I'm just throwing that out there. I mean,
well, going back to your question, I think, definitely there's sort of amping up and on both sides, let's say. I think, I don't know how it is managed. I'm sure that over the last few years there's been an increase. I don't know if they're coping with the demand. Could be that a lot of these farmers could be convinced to cooperate with it if they would charge admission or, get into the business of it, because it's not going to slow down. They can only, somehow react and benefit from it and even accommodate it more, because you can't stop it, really. And the way you described it, it's amazing. It's just so much curiosity about it, around it, and trying to solve these things. So definitely, but again, I think that there's always going to be some sort of friction, and there's always going to be some sort of distraction that keeps the people who are really into it on it, and and really going for it, and the others are kept away. The ones that don't want any trouble, so they don't have enough of maybe curiosity to look into it and actually be there. And so again, it's just some sort of labor pains to something that's coming into birth.
Yeah, I can see it that way too, Eagle. Well, this has been an amazing Trecena for me, anyway. The Tihash Trecena is the one that's just wound down, and it was really wonderful for me to be traveling and experiencing all these new things during my home Trecena, and now this one upcoming. We've got to stay tuned for more patterns with the crop circles, but it is becoming more. It is harvest time. So just when the crop circle enthusiasts were thinking that the season is winding down, just in the last day or two, more circles have been coming in. So we'll just have to stay tuned and see what happens with that. What else about bots? Does any of our guests want to chime in here, open the lines to see and hear what experiences you may have with bots and how you may be thinking about this upcoming Trecena of bots? Yes, Six mentioned, yes, beginning new things with bots. Yes, the kids are going back to school. That's true. Eagle.
Yeah.
Do you have handy a list of people that celebrities or well-known people that carry this energy to help us get even more of a feel for this energy and how it manifests?
Okay, so I'll begin with one bot. Ronald Reagan. I found that bots types can really do well in the military, or can really do well in general as being leaders. Ronald Reagan, I think, did his part. Two bots. Harrison Ford. Again, you'll see a lot of actors. Going back to Jeff and what he said in the same school, Sri Ramana Maharishi was born 3 bots, if you know him. 4 bots, David Bowie. and Sean Connery. Tina Turner also. 5 Butts, Flea, Tim Roth. 6 Butts, Roger Waters, Pink Floyd, and Jeffrey Rush, the actor. 7 Butts. Who do we have here? Derek Jacobi, William H. Macy, some more actors, Ed Harris. 8 Butts, what you mentioned as the new year, when also day keepers are initiated. Mm-hmm. John Keats. 9 Butts, Dustin Hoffman. Think of, how many roles has he played very successfully, very differently. 10 Butts, Neil Armstrong. Again, very serious, also very serious professionals, Butts types. Being in the limelight and being the trickster at the same time, they're very, very professional, a very professional approach to whatever they're doing. Neil Armstrong, I said, and also James Monroe, number 5. 11 Butts, I have Shimon Peres, and also Stanley Kubrick. He was amazing.
Clockwork Orange.
Sorry, Clockwork Orange, and 2001, and Eyes Wide Shut, and a lot of other. 12 Butts, Robert De Niro. Who else? 13 Butts, Barbara Streisand, Ray Romano, Jeremy Irons, Burt Lancaster. Who else? Yeah, that's about it. That wraps it up.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's quite a list. I know one of my sisters is a bot, and another very dear friend of mine is a bot. And you just never know what's going to come out of their mouth. You just never know how they're going to perk up the party or do a little dance or create something. Both of these people have visual art capabilities and talents. So it's when you do a fire ceremony with Shuni, and we'll be doing some with her in September, she makes the sound of the monkey like you wouldn't believe. And she asks everybody around the circle to make sounds like a monkey. And it really livens everything up. It's really quite fun. But the other thought that came in, Eagle, was when we were talking about how you transition from one day sign to another and another. Mm-hmm. She does a series of mudras for each one of the nawals. And she tells a story that helps you remember the essence of each one of the nawals and why they connect from one to the next, to the next, to the next. So
with the mudras, through the mudras.
All different kinds of mudras. Like for the monkey, you'd have you'd take your fingers and stick 2 little ears up above, like little horns almost, up above your head. And for Khan, for the serpent, you'd put your hands in prayer position and slither them up and down your spine. So there's all different kinds of mudras for each one of the nawals. And we're going to be hosting both Shuni and Tata Pedro. I think the first time we're able to do that is September 17th, and then we'll do another one with them on September 30th. So we've got some of those things to look forward to. Wrapping up here, we've got another telewebcast on the 22nd of August, and that is the Nawal for Net or Kat. And our guest last time, Josh Johnson, his wife, Jamie, is caught. And she is going to be in conversation with Jeff Grant on that call. And that, again, same time, same station, but it's on 1 COT, which is Thursday, August 22nd. So we're on a roll. We're over halfway done, halfway complete with the 260-day cycle. And
exactly. It's exactly the midpoint.
So that refers to the Kalaman midpoint?
No. I mean, if we began in 1 130 days in, exactly in the middle is the transition between 13C and today, 1 Bat.
Right.
So that's exactly. So you're finishing your trip with the crop circle at the same time. We're at the exact midpoint of the journey. That you started.
So what was Kalaman's planetary midline that you referred to?
Well, that's to do with the duality and the way he tracked historical. Sorry.
It has to do with the Giza, I believe, being the midpoint and kind of serving as like a Greenwich Mean Time in ancient times, like where we would put Greenwich now, to kind of calibrate where days begin and end. If you were going to divide the world between East and West, when he does a lot of his parallels in his book about the different major cycles as they collapse in on themselves, he would look at like the fall of Rome. And then he was predicting the fall of 08 in 2008. Or 2007, 08, was correlating to the 400 years that Rome fell. And there was also a 20-year correlation there, I think, with the 80s or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's just a divider, basically, a delineator that I think was going through the pyramids at Giza.
Well, yeah, and I also, closing and trying to wrap up, I think it's fair also to talk about maybe the weaknesses or what to look for in that respect during this Trecena, BJ.
Well, the trickster energy, you mean? Are you thinking about the trickster?
Well, I'm thinking about ADHD. I'm thinking about the jack of all trades and master of none, because I can really find a lot of things that are very interesting in any given sort of thing that interests me. But in this period of time, it's maybe the focus should be on how much I apply myself and not just change channels all the time. It's just this type of bots. I think it has. If you get into a conversation with him and you tell him a story, he will really, really listen, because he knows the value of when he talks and he does spins his stories and his webs. He loves to be heard also. So, but at the same time, he'll walk across the floor and start another conversation very quickly. So that's also another tendency. Sometimes they say that bots types can have challenges in relationships because they're always looking for novelty. So that's what I'm aligning myself in terms of meditating on this upcoming period. To see how much I let it just go and browse, or when I do focus my attention and intention on whatever I want to get done, whatever's important for me, and do commit after all.
And stick with it.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
It becomes a matter of integrity, is what you're kind of alluding to.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that should surmount all these aspects in order to come to your fullest expression. You have to be able and willing to do that. So that's great, Eagle and Jeff. I think we're set now. I mean, I'm feeling complete with with how we've covered all the nuances and how this energy manifests itself. And I hope will serve to develop an even closer connection between our listeners and our viewers and the Noel bots. So I think we're ready to set intention for the Trecena and do the count. And again, when we do the count, your mind is kind of in your intention, a really clearly formulated intention for the next 13 days. And use a breath or two to kind of clear out everything and making that space for a clear intention. And then when we say the count, we're doing so from the heart, fervently, to the point where that frequency should remain within us for this duration of time. So it becomes a resource for us to stay clear, stay focused, stay present, so that you don't get pulled in a million directions or go off center. So with that, I'll begin the count. And if you like, you can repeat aloud or in your mind's eye. So the intention is set. Un bat.
Un bat.
Un bat.
Ke bat.
Ke bat.
Oshib bat.
Oshib bat.
Kahib bat.
Kahib bat.
Ob bat.
Ob bat.
Wakib bat.
Wakib bat.
Washakib bat.
Washakib bat.
Beleheb bat.
Beleheb bat.
Lahu bat.
Lahu bat.
Kulahu bat.
Kulahu bat.
Kablahu bat.
Kablahu bat.
Oshlahu bat.
Oshlahu bat.
And with this, let's just take a moment to feel and sense the presence of anyone in your world that you know or don't know that could use this positive frequency, this blessing, this petition to bots for health and happiness and fun and initiation to our greater sense of self. Ooh, Matiosh. Matiosh, everybody. We'll see you and talk again soon. Chenek Cheek.
Chenek Cheek.
Till we meet again.
Have a safe journey.
Oh, and same to you all. I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for everything you do for me and for this whole community.
Thank you, BJ.
To you all.
Thank you, BJ.
Okay. Take care, everybody. Love you. Bye-bye.